Hi, how are you doing? Welcome back to my channel. So today we're continuing from where we left off. I forgot to mention one important thing. Old Man and the Meadow is divided into two major parts. There's part one and part two. So today we're looking at the last part of part one, then we're going to go into part two. So we continue from where we left off last time. Just a little recap. Egamba is Mecca's brother-in-law. Mecca married Egamba's wife, whose name is Kelara, and Egamba is married to Amalia. So Egamba and Amalia started their journey to Dome for the award ceremony of Mecca. As we remember, Mecca was receiving an award from the highest commandant of the white people. So it was a big deal. It was a big celebration in the village, both in Dome and in Zoran. Because as you know, Mecca is a black old man who has sacrificed everything for the French people, for the colonialists. So this award was a big deal. So anyway, Egamba and his wife start their journey, and Egamba carried his goat to go and give Mecca. So this goat was a big goat, and it was it was a weird goat. So throughout the journey, we'll see how Egamba struggles with this goat because it's very stubborn. I don't know if that's the right way to use it. It's very stubborn. So in the bid of trying to escape Egamba's rope, it kept getting choked, almost failing to breathe, and it was a whole lot. So anyway, Egamba and his wife Amalia are on their way. Just a disclaimer, as I always say, I am not very fluent with pronouncing these names. This is not a Zambian novel, it's a Cameroonian, so the names are a bit difficult. I don't know how best they pronounce, but I'm going to try my best. And as usual, I'm going to put the names in the video as I go on. So Egamba and his wife are on their way. And because the journey is so long, they reach a place called Nkango Hamlet. And it's dark. At this point, it's very dark. But before that, we are told a backstory of Amalia. So Amalia was a lazy child growing up, and the mother got worried whether she would ever get married or not. So this one day, Amalia's mother starts telling her, I'm worried. I don't know if you will get married. Like, you're the talk of the village. Everyone says you're lazy. Everyone worries that you won't be able to feed your husband because of the way that you carry yourself. They don't even know if you'll be able to carry a basket of food on your head. And it means if you can't carry a basket of food, it means your husband will die of hunger. So her mother started crying, and Amalia started crying with the mom. And it's at this point Amalia decided to carry a basket and go to the field to go and gather some food. On her way back, she was singing very loudly so that everyone in the village can see her. And definitely, she caught the attention that she needed. She sang so loudly with a heavy basket on her head and some other items that she carried around her waist. So it was a tedious chore that she decided to do. So immediately she reached home, she fell on her mother's. She immediately she entered her mother's house. Rather, she fell down, and the mother had to quickly close the door so that people don't see that this hardworking girl has fallen because of the things that she was carrying. So after falling down, she was sick for a few days. By the time she recovered, she had like 10 suitors who wanted to marry her, and amongst those 10 was Egamba. And Egamba was already a polygamist at this point, but he had money, so she decided to go with Egamba because in her mind she was thinking, since he's a polygamist, I won't have to do all the chores alone. And that's how Amalia and Egamba got married. Yeah. So throughout this journey, Amalia carried a basket on her head, and Egamba only had the goat that he was pulling as they were going to Dome. So at this point, it was very dark and they couldn't proceed anymore. So they reached a village called Nkango Hamlet, And one of the villagers there, his name is Bimana, saw them, and he offered them, he welcomed them to his house. Um, in fact, Binama recognized Amalia first before he recognized Egamba. Egamba was walking behind Amalia, like Amalia was walking really fast. So Binama welcomed them into his home, and it's at this point we're told Binama has a son called Dagule. So um, Dagole is 5 years old. This is Binama's son. He's 5 years old. And the first time Egamba and Amalia met this boy at this moment, he was naked and he was eating. So, you know how 5-year-olds behave. So he was shy a little bit at the beginning, like when they met. But with time, he opened up to Egamba and Amalia. So Binama is married to a woman called Agatha. Agatha is deemed very fertile. In fact, Binama even tells Egamba how she had miscarriages, and all of those miscarriages were of twins. So anyway, Egamba and Amalia rested there for a while. They rested there. They even ate. They had a meal with these guys, and they decided to start their journey very, very early. So they said their goodbyes, Amalia and Egamba, crossed the river, and after walking for a while, it was only like one village to they reached Dome, and a vehicle passed, and a truck rather, carrying black people passed, and Egamba fell down, and again his gut started choking. So anyway, after this long, tedious walk, they finally reached Dome, and they found Mecca's house had other visitors. As I had mentioned, this was a big deal for the people of Dome. So it was a big deal for black people, let me say. So Mecca's house was filled with so many people, some of which Kelara didn't even know. You know, like distant relations and distant friends. So his house was full already. He and his wife were staying in a very small hut, and because it had so many people, it was very full, to a point where Kelara had to gather banana leaves so that people can use those as beddings. And amongst everyone, it was only Egamba and his wife who brought a goat. The rest brought food that they were supposed to eat for that meal, supper, like you know where you cook at home, for what you cook what you're going to eat for supper, then you carry that food and take. So Egamba was the only person who brought a live goat. So anyway, we are also introduced to a couple called the Esombas. The Esombas are Mecca. Mr. Esomba is Mecca's nephew from his great uncle. Yeah, there's that relation. So there are so many people. Kelara even got worried whether the food that they had was going to be enough. So anyway, they eat, and it was now time to sleep. So Egamba is given a bed. Egamba and his wife are given a bed. Then there's also a small bed where an old woman is sleeping, and this old woman claimed rather that she nursed Kelara's mother before she died. So yeah. So then during this night time, we are now told how Mecca was allergic to shoes. In fact, Mecca only started wearing shoes after the white men came, like after the Second World War. That's when he started wearing shoes. And he would buy canvas. And what he would do was he would always tear the top part of the canvas right at the end so that his small toe, his smallest toe could be outside, because he didn't like shoes. He never wore shoes before white people came. So in fact, before this, Maker, to show them his suit, they like Kelara was really against it. She didn't like it. She didn't like the design. In fact, other people, Mvodo inclusive, started laughing at Mecca for the design of the suit. And Mecca tried to justify it, like, no, this is a new design. You know, the way people used to make suits in the name of Dagule suit. It's a new, okay, like this suit was long. So it's not that it was ugly. I feel like They just didn't know the design. But anyway, they made fun of him, and this made him feel some type of way. So it's at this point when Clara said, okay, you know what? Let's even try on the shoes that we bought. So they bought these shoes from Mrs.
Pipiniaki's shop.
So these were leather shoes that he was supposed to wear the following day during the award ceremony. So he tried the shoes on and they were not comfortable. He couldn't walk in them. Remember, Mecca was allergic to shoes. He didn't like shoes. So the leather shoes, at least the canvas, you'd like tear them and he would remove his pinky toe, but his small toe. But these ones, he could not tear them up. They were leather shoes. So it's at this point Igamba came up with a brilliant idea of putting sand inside the shoes and putting water inside the shoes so that by morning the shoes would have expanded. So anyway, they told Mvodo to do all this. So Mvodo went, took the shoes, and he brought them back and put them under the bed. Everyone else started sleeping. So Kelara gave the announcement that you guys were going to sleep ABCD. Those who have come with mats, they can spread their mats inside the hut. Those that have not come with mats can use banana leaves. Yeah, and that's how they slept. But Mecca could not sleep. You know how that feeling where you're going to receive an award, or that anxiousness that comes with um a long awaited something. So he couldn't sleep the whole night. He was tossing and turning. He was thinking about how that commandant would look. He thought about what he should do. Maybe he should carry some gifts for the commandant. He even tried he wanted to wake his wife up so she can gather some eggs and he would take those eggs as a gift to the commandant. He also thought about how great a Gamba was. I mean, he was the only person that carried a gift for him. The rest just carried what they could eat for that night. So he thought to himself and said, you know what? I think that goat, only the four of us are going to eat it. But anyway, he was up the whole night. And this is where part one ends.